Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmer.
Hey, welcome back, knife nerds, everyday care people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and we are having a look at something today that's a little bit of a, I guess it's kind of a classic now. I wanted one when they first came out. We're talking about, of course, the Crooked River, the Benchmade Crooked River. I wanted one of these when they first came out. So there were some things I liked about them. There were some things about it I just didn't like, but I ended up getting one, and we'll have a look at that in a bit. Hey man, yesterday was such a weird day. I tried to get new stuff on here, and a lot of ways I'm doing that is by doing knife trades or selling something and buying something. You know, things go in and out the channel because I wish I was independently wealthy and I could buy 100 knives here every 2 months and do a video a day on a brand new knife like some of them big uns do. And anyways, I ended up having some more family issues with my my wife's mother, and just lost track of time. Was supposed to send out a knife in the morning, and then I went to go send it out to him in the afternoon after visiting my dad. And my dad wanted to have a look at one of my knives, and I showed him this here, this XM24, and it is razor sharp. I mean razor. And I went to give it to him, and fell out of my hand, hit my leg, put a gash inside my leg. And so I had to quickly kind of yell for some paper towel and a Band-Aid. And it was quite the gash. Definitely would have, I thought, needed stitches. Having a look at it here today after having it, I bandaged it up so it was really, could be closed almost like butterfly bandages, but I used full-size bandages to pull the skin together. And it's healed actually quite nicely overnight. It was about almost a 1/4 inch wide when it first split open, but and then on the way to the post office, I ended up scratching my ear, and I'm bleeding all over, and it was just. Anyways, I did get it to the post office. I got a nice big fixed blade coming, and we're gonna have a look at right now the Benchmade Crooked River. If you're done listening to my little bit of a diatribe, all right. So, well, the one thing I wanted to get at is at the end of the video, just have a look. I did a little bit of a bandage switch this morning, and hey, my cut's on the back end of this video if you want to have a look at it. We all have some war wounds, big knife nuts, and this is another one that I'm going to add to the collection. So it'll be at the end of the video, just a short, minute long. You can have a look at it. Doesn't look near as bad today as it did yesterday. So, all right, let's have a look at the tabletop. All right, we have the Benchmade Crooked River here, and now I wanted one of these so heartily when they first came out. I was really enamored with this shape. Of course, here's the Benchmade box, and this is from their Crooked River custom center. So you can see here, this exact model is not available. They've done a little bit of switches, but you can buy some Crooked River customs. The original, when it first came out, it came out with this stuff called packwood or diamond wood, which is basically it's like a press board wood to make it look like it's wood. It's just basically wood and resin, and it's shaped like wood. As you can see here, this one's got that wood grain texture in it. Well, instead of having this black kind of G10, it was resin and wood to make it look like an actual wooden scale. This one here happens to have the aluminum bolsters. This one here has a brass collar. And of course, it has a gray backspacer. Some of this stuff's not available right now. Like this gray backspacer is not available right now. But I did have a kind of a look at this one. Now, this is a monster knife. And one of the things I was thinking that this knife was a replacement for was, or kind of inspired by, is the Buck 110. And I didn't realize how thin this Buck 110 is. This is my own personal Buck 110, and I've carried this on a lot of hunting trips. Unfortunately, I don't do the hunting that I used to do, and this one here happened to cut up a moose, a 1,000-pound plus moose with some big ass antlers. This one cut it up, and I thought I lost it, but I didn't. But anyways, just to give you an idea of what the size is here, as you can see that this dwarfs this Buck 110. And then, of course, we've got my XM24, which you can see that it is, man, we're kind of on par here with this XM24. You can see here that it's got just a smidge of overall length on the XM24. And let's go over something here. Now, this is something here that people, and we'll have a look at this one down the road too, and perhaps do a little bit of comparison. A lot of people thought this was too big, so they brought out the the Crooked River Mini, and this one here is from their custom shop too as well. It's all changed up a little bit, and that's the one thing that I think is quite neat with the Benchmade customs is you can kind of put these how you want them. I mean, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium to do it, but you can put some billboarding on here, happy birthday dad, or excuse me for a second folks, but you can put yourself some billboarding on here, which I think is really, really neat. But just to kind of go over this here, overall kind of dimensions, your blade length is 4 inches. Your blade thickness is 3.15 millimeters or 0.124 of an inch. The overall length is 9.3 inches, so you're about 3/4 of an inch from 10 inches. This is a big knife. Of course, this one happens to be G10 with aluminum bolsters, and of course, we've got I'm not sure what that material is as far as the back spacer, but it's kind of got a gear back spacer on it. It is tip up carry only, left and right hand side. As you can see, it's got the built-in holes. Now, it's got the lanyard hole, which is something that I totally love. You gotta have a lanyard hole in your knife, folks. If you're a knife designer out there and you're thinking, oh, it throws off the aesthetics, well, it also throws off the usability. I love being kind of pulling out a knife by the lanyard out of my pocket every single time. I hook it with my pinky finger and I pull it out. That's the way I want to pull a knife out of my pocket. But this one here happens to have 20 CV steel in it. So it is, top of the line steel. It is excellent steel. Now, they originally came out in S30V steel, which back at the day, that S30V was the top of the line steel, or pretty darn close to it. S30V was the first steel that was created specifically for the cutlery industry, and they tried to do a really good balance between toughness, edge retention, stainlessness, and they didn't get it perfect, but it was a valiant attempt. And S30V is a great steel in its own right now. Of course, it has the access lock, so it is ambidextrous, left or right hand closing. So you can, if you're a left-handed guy, you can use your thumb to close it, or if you're right-handed, you can use your thumb. A lot of people to use both to pull it out. Sometimes, if you want, you could just use your thumb, or you could just use your pointy finger. So there is lots of ways to close this. Now, this handle is quite big. It is, a little 5 1/4 or 5.33 of an inch. There's some people out to see. I've got double XL hands. So you can see that this knife even pokes out on both sides with my big monster hands. And some people have a hard time closing this with 2 fingers on each side, because lots of the ways you're going to close these access locks is you're going to kind of place that into the palm. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a mark there. And then you're going to use both your fingers to kind of pull it back and then, close it shut. As you can see, it's left the mark in there. But if you've got the small hands, you're not able to do that, right? I suppose you could kind of hook onto there, and it is so awkward to do it without being able to anchor that in the palm of your hand. The one way, though, I would suggest that if you've got small hands is just use your thumb. That's so much easier. So you can see that it's not pressed against anything, but if you can pull with one thumb and close it, it's excellent. That way. Now, this is running on phosphor bronze washers, and it is extremely smooth for that. I mean, it is drop shut, and it's so drop shut it's bouncy. If you kind of leave that open when it closes, it'll bounce, give that kind of that bounce. But once you kind of get used to this knife, as soon as it hits the closing, the stop pin, let go of the access lock, and it sucks it right in. It's excellent. All right, so. There you go. See, then you don't have that little bit of a bounce. Now, it's got some nice jimping on here. There is kind of it is such a big knife. There's no real way to kind of have a sharpening choil or like a finger choil to do the fine movements. I kind of wish that they would kind of done that. Maybe, put a little bit of a choil in there for your finger. I think it would make it a little bit easier to kind of do that fine work, especially with such a big knife. But overall, I was really kind of impressed and liking the fact that this is kind of a solidly built knife. It's 5.41 ounces. Now, I am not a monster fan of Benchmade's And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I think that they are quite pricey. This one here in Canada right now with the 20 CV is almost 380 bucks. So almost $400, $400 plus what you put shipping and tax in there. And I don't know if that's a $400 knife. Now, in the States right now, this thing coming out of the custom Crooked River thing is 360 USD. That's a lot of dough. But I mean, if you wanted to go and get the older style with the S30V, the pack of wood, you're looking at about 288 at say places like Knife Center or Blade HQ. They've all pretty much stayed along, 288. So it is 320 MSRP, so down to 288. I would imagine, I don't know if you get a break at the custom Crooked River, because I never bought one specifically from Benchmade, but I would suspect that if you did, it's still gonna be 320, 330, street price, and that's a lot of dough for a knife like this that there's so much competition out there. Things like this one. Now this here is quite a bit more expensive than I guess, quite a bit more expensive here in Canada, but if you're buying for Rick Hinderer there, I mean, it's $4 something, but your titanium for this one, your different materials, but this is a solid contender. This here, I just think it's just a smidge overpriced, but it did do quite well. There is lots of them out there in the secondary market, so if you can, pick these up for in Canada here, somewhere around, low twos or 200, I think that's all day long. If you can get one that's in great shape, that's pre-owned, and you can pay that kind of money, I think you're all day long. And in the States, even, I would imagine that you're sub 200s USD. If you're paying that kind of money for this knife, then I think that it's a no-brainer, especially if you're a hunter, especially if you've had a buck 110 and you're used to that, that's what you want to do. This is such a classic clip point design. Now, I did, despite having the pack of wood and stuff like that, I do think this is a great looking knife. I mean, I love that nice beefy, that high kind of saber grind here that we have. It's not a hollow grind. It looks like it is a saber grind. It's got a little bit of a swedge here. Like, it's a good looking knife in the right iterations. Like, I love this little bit of a brass. I could have done without this here. I would have loved to see a little bit more textured pattern here, smaller, or even just a straight flat. I think that would have been a little bbit nicer, but overall, I think it's an excellent, good looking knife. And when you get stuff like this red with this black and this red ring, I think, it just sets it right off for me. Stuff like that, it just blows me away. Now, would I recommend this? I think absolutely. If you're going to be getting one that's kind of on the secondary market or pre-owned, these haven't, kind of kept their, some knives, they go up, some knives stay, pretty close to the MSRP, and some, they get a little bit long in the tooth, and people, price them accordingly. And I think this is one. I think this is one hell of a knife for a secondary market price. I think it's overpriced for being brand spanking new, but hey, to each your own. It is, I think, an excellent hunting knife for the modern age, because you're getting some great materials. You're getting, I think, some great size, and I think you're getting some great toughness. Now, this does carry quite good in the pocket. I mean, there's nothing here when you have this in your pocket. It's beautiful to reach inside. For being such a big knife, it disappears in your pocket, so it is a really nice EDC carry. Now, it might be a little bit murdery for when you pull it out, a 4-inch blade. People at the office may kind of give you a little bit of a look. That's why you got the mini Crooked River. But other than that, it doesn't carry like a 5.41 ounce, almost 10-inch knife. It carries considerably smaller. It is more comfortable, and it's got some great fidget factor too as well. So I hope you guys had a nice, good look at this Benchmade Crooked River. I hope you guys please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice. This is the Big Canucker saying adios. All right, as promised, here's the Gore. I'm going to take this off so you guys can have a look at what happened here with my XM24 razor sharp that I showed you guys. It is, wow, so sharp, and it just kind of slipped out of my hand, hit my leg. I was sitting on a chair talking to my dad, and Nick, she cut pretty bad. So let's have a look at it. I need to change the bandage. I decided not to go get stitches, even though I think I need them.
So let's just have a look at this real quick. Oh, it's healed up so nicely. Ow! Yeah, you can see here. She cut so deep, but I closed it up right away. So it is not too bad. But when it was open, it was about close to a 1/4 inch wide open, but it seemed to have closed up overnight. And man, she bled pretty well. So here's a quick look at what happens if you drop a razor sharp XM24 on your leg. Now you can see how deep this thing, or not how deep, how long this is. Let's just see. Here's a Sharpie marker, and you can see that it is quite a good one. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a look. As you can see, my legs are pretty beaten up. It happens. All right, so there's the Gore for the day. I'm going to put some polysporin on it, a bandage, and hopefully no stitches. Hopefully it closes right up. Take care, you guys. Please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. There's a Big Canucker saying adios.